Every time you stop at a yellow light, you're using an invention by a man who only had a sixth-grade education. Every time a firefighter enters a burning building and survives, they're using technology created by the same man. Every time you straighten your hair with a hot comb, you're using a product descended from his accidental discovery. His name was Garrett Augustus Morgan. They called him the Black Edison. And this is his story. Paris, Kentucky, 1877. Garrett Augustus Morgan is born on March 4th, the seventh of 11 children. His father, Sidney Morgan, was a freed slave who had belonged to Confederate General John H. Morgan of Morgan's Raiders. His mother, Elizabeth Reed, was also a freed slave and the daughter of Reverend Garrett Reed. She was part Native American. The family is free now, but freedom doesn't mean prosperity. They're poor, they're struggling, and they're farming. Young Garrett attends Branch Elementary School in Claysville, Kentucky. But like many black children at the turn of the century, he can only attend school for 2 to 5 months a year because he's expected to help with the farming. By sixth grade, he has to quit entirely and work full-time. His formal education is over before it really begins. But here's what you need to understand about Garrett Augustus Morgan. Limitations don't define him. Obstacles don't stop him. At 14 years old, he makes a decision that will change his life. He leaves home. He leaves Kentucky. He moves to Cincinnati, Ohio, searching for work and searching for opportunity. He spends his teenage years working as a handyman for a landowner in Cincinnati. It's hard work. It's manual labor. It pays just enough to survive. But here's what separates Garrett from everyone else around him. He doesn't accept his situation. He doesn't resign himself to a life of manual labor. With the money he earns, he hires a tutor. He continues his education on his own. He teaches himself. He reads. He studies. He refuses to let a sixth-grade education define his limits or determine his future. In 1895, at age 18, Garrett makes another move. He relocates to Cleveland, Ohio, and gets a job sweeping floors at a clothing factory. It's the bottom. It's where most people would stay. But Garrett isn't most people. While he's sweeping, he's watching. While he's cleaning, he's studying. He's fascinated by the sewing machines in the factory. He watches how they work. He watches how they break. And he watches how the mechanics fix them. So Garrett teaches himself. He studies the machines. He learns their mechanisms. He understands their problems. And when they break, which happens often, he starts fixing them. He's so good at it that people start coming to him specifically. His reputation spreads. The kid who sweeps floors is the best mechanic in the building. And then he starts improving the machines. His first invention during this period is a belt fastener for sewing machines, making them more efficient. Then he invents a zigzag attachment. He's not just fixing things anymore. He's making them better. He's innovating. The sixth-grade dropout is now an inventor. By 1907, at age 30, Garrett opens his own business, a sewing machine repair shop. He's his own boss. He's an entrepreneur. But Garrett's ambitions go beyond business. In 1908, more conscious of his heritage and the struggles his people face, he helps found the Cleveland Association of Colored Men, which will later merge with the NAACP. He's not just building wealth, he's building community. In 1909, Garrett marries Mary Ann Hassick, a Czech immigrant, and together they open Morgan's Cut-Rate Ladies clothing store. The shop makes coats, suits, dresses, and other clothing. It grows rapidly. Within a few years, they're employing 32 people. Garrett Augustus Morgan, the sixth-grade dropout who left home at 14 with nothing, is now a successful businessman, employer, and community leader in Cleveland. But his greatest innovations are still ahead of him. Around 1910, Garrett is experimenting with a liquid designed to give sewing machine needles a high polish to prevent them from burning fabric as they sewed at high speeds. He's working in his shop, testing different chemical formulas. And then something happens that will change everything. He accidentally wipes some of the liquid on a piece of pony fur cloth. When he comes back later, the fur is standing straight up. It's been straightened. Garrett is intrigued. He tests it on his neighbor's dog. It works. He tests it on his own hair. It works. He's just accidentally discovered a hair straightening formula. In 1913, Garrett launches the G.A. Morgan Hair Refining Company to manufacture and sell hair care products. He trademarks and sells his hair straightening cream, creates a hair oil dye, and in 1910 invents a curved tooth comb for hair straightening. The company becomes wildly successful, adding significantly to his growing wealth. But Garrett isn't satisfied with business success. He's watching the world, he's seeing problems, and he's determined to solve them. On March 25, 1911, the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire in New York City kills 146 garment workers, mostly young immigrant women. They couldn't escape. The doors were locked. But even if the doors had been open, the smoke would have killed them. Firefighters arrive but struggle to enter the building. They're suffocating from smoke inhalation. They can't breathe. They can't save anyone. And Garrett Morgan, reading about this tragedy, is devastated. He knows factories. He worked in them. He knows those workers. And he decides he's going to do something about it. In 1912, Garrett files for a patent for a breathing device, a safety hood. Listen to his own words from the patent application. This is what Garrett wrote. The objects of the invention are to provide a portable attachment which will enable a fireman to enter a house filled with thick, suffocating gases and smoke and to breathe freely for some time therein, and thereby enable him to perform his duties of saving life and valuables without danger to himself from suffocation. Let me break down what he's saying. Garrett saw firefighters dying from smoke inhalation while trying to save others. So he created a hood made of rubber cloth or asbestos, with tubes that hung down near the ground where the air is cleaner because smoke rises. Hot air and smoke go up. Clean air stays low. The firefighter puts on the hood, and the tubes draw clean air from near the floor. He can breathe while surrounded by deadly smoke. He can save lives without dying himself. But Garrett wasn't just thinking about firefighters. Listen to what else he wrote in the patent. The device is also efficient and useful for protection to engineers, chemists, and working men who are obliged to breathe noxious fumes or dust derived from the materials in which they are obliged to work. Factory workers, engineers, chemists, people breathing in poison every single day at their jobs just to survive. Garrett wanted to protect them too. He came from that world. He knew those people. He was thinking about them. And here's the part that shows his genius for understanding emergencies. He wrote, The invention has for its further objects to provide a device which can be quickly and easily attached and carried upon the person without the delay caused by buckling straps or the use of fastening devices of any kind, and thus will be serviceable for immediate use in emergencies, since a little delay will often endanger life beyond recovery. Speed saves lives. Garrett designed it so you could put it on in seconds. No complicated straps, no buckles, no fasteners. You just slip your head and shoulders through a loop formed by the tubes, and it rests on your hips. It's on. You're protected. Because in an emergency, every second counts. A few seconds of delay could mean someone dies. Garrett understood that. On October 13, 1914, Garrett receives U.S. patent 1,113,675 for his safety hood and smoke protector. He immediately launches the National Safety Device Company to manufacture and sell it. His invention wins first prize at the Second International Exposition of Safety and Sanitation in New York City. It's recognized. It's awarded. Fire departments start showing interest. And then racism enters the story. When white fire chiefs across the country discover that the inventor is a black man, many refuse to buy it. They won't purchase a life-saving device because the man who created it has dark skin. Orders are canceled. Doors are closed. Garrett's invention works. It saves lives. But racism is more important to them than safety. So Garrett does something brilliant and heartbreaking. He takes advice from the famous entrepreneur J.P. Morgan. He removes his first name from the product and starts calling it simply the Morgan Safety Hood. He hires white actors to pose as the inventor and promote the product at conventions. And Garrett himself? He disguises himself as Big Chief Mason, claiming to be a full-blooded Native American from the Walpole Island Indian Reserve in Canada. At demonstrations, Garrett builds a tent and fills it with noxious smoke from tar, sulfur, formaldehyde, and manure. Black smoke, suffocating fumes, deadly gases. Then, disguised as Big Chief Mason, he enters the tent wearing his hood. He stays inside for 20 minutes. The crowd watches. They wait. They expect him to collapse, and then he emerges, unharmed, breathing normally. The device works. It's undeniable. Fire Chief Stickle of the Cleveland Fire Department witnesses a demonstration and says the device is much cheaper and simpler than the oxygen mask they currently use. He recommends purchasing several safety hoods for the fire department. Demonstrations continue in Ravenna, Youngstown, Canton, and other cities in Ohio. Success after success. Fire departments, hospitals, asylums, and ammonia factories across the United States start buying Morgan's safety hood. But Garrett is selling his genius in disguise. He's hiding his identity to save lives. Think about that. The man who invented the device can't take credit for it because of the color of his skin. Then comes the night that changes everything. July 24th, 1916, Cleveland, Ohio. Workers are drilling a new tunnel 120 feet beneath Lake Erie to create a water intake system for the city. It's dangerous work. They're deep underground. And then, disaster. They hit a pocket of natural gas. An explosion, fire, smoke, gas filling the tunnel. Workers trapped. The alarm goes out. Rescuers arrive. 2 separate rescue attempts are launched. Both fail. The would-be rescuers become victims themselves. They enter the tunnel and don't come back. 10 men are now dead from trying to save the trapped workers. The situation is desperate. The tunnel is a death trap. No one knows what to do. Then someone on the rescue team remembers. He'd seen a demonstration of Morgan's safety hood. He'd seen a man enter a tent filled with deadly smoke and emerge unharmed. A messenger is sent. It's the middle of the night. Garrett Augustus Morgan is asleep at home when there's frantic pounding on his door. There's been an explosion! Workers are trapped under the lake! We need your device! We need you! Garrett and his brother Frank don't even take time to change clothes. They grab 4 safety hoods and rush to the scene, still wearing their pajamas. When they arrive at the tunnel entrance, the scene is chaos. Smoke is billowing out. The rescuers on site are exhausted, terrified, and skeptical. Most of them don't even know Garrett is the inventor. They think he's just another volunteer. Some don't believe the hoods will work. Garrett doesn't argue. He doesn't explain. He puts on a hood. His brother Frank puts on a hood. 2 other volunteers, including a man named Tom Clancy, put on the remaining hoods. And together, they enter the tunnel. Into the smoke. Into the gas. Into the darkness 120 feet below Lake Erie. The crowd waits. Minutes pass. The smoke is so thick you can't see anything. No one knows if they'll come back. And then, movement. A figure emerges from the smoke. It's Garrett. He's carrying a man on his back. Right behind him, Frank emerges carrying another victim. 2 lives saved. The crowd erupts. Others join in. More volunteers put on the hoods and enter the tunnel. More workers are rescued. Bodies of the failed rescuers are recovered. Garrett personally makes 4 trips into that tunnel that night. 4 times, he descends into that toxic hell to bring people out. The fumes are so bad that his health is affected for years afterward. But he doesn't stop. He keeps going back in. Because that's who Garrett Augustus Morgan is. The story makes national news. Heroic rescue under Lake Erie. Safety hood saves lives. It's everywhere. Orders for the Morgan safety hood flood in from fire departments across the country. This is Garrett's moment. This is his recognition. And then the racism begins again. Cleveland newspapers and city officials initially ignore Morgan's act of heroism. They write about the rescue but minimize or completely omit his role. The mayor, Harry L. Davis, creates a list of recommended heroes from the rescue. Garrett's name isn't on it. City officials request that the Carnegie Hero Fund Commission issue medals to several of the men involved in the rescue. Garrett is excluded from their request. It's deliberate. It's racially motivated. Everyone knows it. Victor M. Sincere of the Bailey Company writes to Garrett, "Your deed should serve to help break down the shafts of prejudice with which you struggle, and is sure to be the beacon of light for those that follow you in the battles of life." In 1917, a group of Cleveland citizens, ashamed of their city's treatment of Garrett, try to correct the omission by presenting him with a diamond-studded gold medal in recognition of his heroism. But the damage is done. The national news has published photographs of Garrett. Now everyone knows he's black. Officials in several southern cities who had placed orders for the safety hood cancel them when they discover the inventor's race. Life-saving equipment. rejected because of skin color. Garrett writes in his diary, "I had but a little schooling, but I am a graduate from the School of Hard Knocks and Cruel Treatment. I have personally saved 9 lives." The U.S. military, preparing for World War I, doesn't buy safety hoods from Morgan's company. But the gas masks they manufacture for soldiers in the war, they're modeled after Garrett's design. His invention saves thousands of American soldiers in the trenches of France and Belgium when poison gas attacks come. He saves thousands of lives, and most of them never know his name. Real quick before we continue, if you're learning about Garrett Augustus Morgan for the first time and his story is blowing your mind, hit that like button, smash that share button to spread his story, and subscribe so you don't miss the next inventor we're celebrating. All right, back to Garrett. Despite the racism, despite the erasure, Garrett keeps moving forward. His clothing business is thriving. His hair care company is successful. He's financially secure. In the early 1920s, he purchases an automobile, one of the first black men in Cleveland to own a car. He's driving through the streets of Cleveland, and on one particular day in 1922, he witnesses something that will lead to his next life-saving invention. At an intersection, he sees an accident. A horse-drawn carriage collides with a car. A young child is involved. It's violent. It's preventable. And Garrett can't stop thinking about it. The traffic signals at the time only have 2 positions: stop and go. That's it. A traffic attendant manually operates them. When the signal says go, all the waiting drivers immediately floor it. They're eager. They're impatient. And if a vehicle is still crossing the intersection, there's a collision. It happens constantly. The streets are dangerous. People are dying. Garrett starts designing a solution. And in 1923, he files for a patent for a 3-position traffic signal. Listen to his own words from U.S. Patent 1,475,024. This is what Garrett wrote. "One of the objects of my invention is the provision of a visible indicator which is useful in stopping traffic in all directions before the signal to proceed in any one direction is given. This is advantageous in that vehicles which are partly across the intersecting streets are given time to pass the vehicles which are waiting to travel in a transverse direction, thus avoiding accidents which frequently occur by reason of the over-anxiety of the waiting drivers, to start as soon as the signal to proceed is given." Let me explain what he's saying in plain English. Garrett saw the problem clearly. Drivers are too eager. The moment the light changes to go, they accelerate, even if cars are still crossing. His solution? Stop everyone for a moment. All directions. Give the intersection time to clear. Give the vehicles already in motion time to pass through safely. Then and only then, let the next direction proceed. That pause? That's the yellow light. That brief moment of stop in all directions became the caution signal, the warning, the transition that saves lives every single day at every intersection on Earth. He wrote in the patent, "My invention is concerned with the provision of a traffic signal which enables a director to control the flow of traffic by stopping the movement thereof in all directions momentarily, just prior to allowing the traffic to move in any one direction. Stop all traffic, clear the intersection, then proceed." It's simple, it's brilliant, it's revolutionary, and it becomes the foundation of modern traffic control worldwide. On November 20th, 1923, Garrett Augustus Morgan receives U.S. Patent 1,475,024 for his 3-position traffic signal. He demonstrates it. It works perfectly. And this time, he doesn't have to hide who he is. This time, he gets credit. Major companies take notice. General Electric approaches him with an offer. They want to buy the rights to his patent. Garrett negotiates and sells the rights to General Electric for $40,000. That's approximately $700,000 in today's money. General Electric develops an electric version of Morgan's manually operated signal. They mass produce it. They distribute it worldwide. And Garrett's innovation spreads to every continent, every country, every city. Today, every traffic light on Earth with a yellow warning signal traces its lineage directly back to Garrett Augustus Morgan's 1923 patent. But Garrett doesn't stop inventing. He doesn't retire. He keeps working. He keeps creating. In the 1930s, he starts developing glaucoma. His vision deteriorates. By 1943, he's functionally blind. He has poor health for the rest of his life. But he continues to work on his inventions. One of his later projects is a self-extinguishing cigarette that uses a small plastic pellet filled with water placed just before the filter. And in 1953, at 76 years old, nearly blind, Garrett files another patent. This one is for a decurling comb for straightening hair. Listen to what he writes at age 76, with failing health and no vision. Combing devices for straightening hair have been proposed in the past, which are either complicated and expensive in their construction or generally give unsatisfactory results. My invention comprehends a simple, inexpensive decurling comb, which requires no special skill to use and which quickly and effectively removes kinks and curls from hair. At 76 years old, functionally blind, still innovating, still creating, still trying to make things better, simpler, more accessible for everyday people. That's Garrett Augustus Morgan. That's his spirit. That's his legacy. Beyond his inventions, Garrett is a pillar of his community throughout his life. He co-founds the Cleveland Association of Colored Men in 1908, which later merges with the NAACP. He serves as treasurer of the local NAACP chapter for years. He donates money to historically black colleges and universities. In 1920, he founds the Cleveland Call, a weekly newspaper serving the black community. In 1938, he participates in its merger with another paper to create the Cleveland Call and Post, which still publishes today. Garrett purchases a farm near Wakeman, Ohio, and builds the Wakeman Country Club on that land, specifically open to black people, because most country clubs at the time exclude them. He creates a space for his community to gather, to relax, to feel welcome. In 1931, believing that Cleveland isn't properly addressing the needs of its black citizens, Garrett runs for a seat on the Cleveland City Council as an independent candidate. He doesn't win, but he fights. He uses his voice. He demands better for his people. On July 27, 1963, Garrett Augustus Morgan dies in Cleveland, Ohio, at the age of 86. He's buried at Lakeview Cemetery in Cleveland. 1 month later, in August 1963, at the Emancipation Centennial Celebration in Chicago, Illinois, he is nationally recognized for his contributions to safety, innovation, and the advancement of his community. Today, Garrett's legacy lives on. In Cleveland, the Garrett A. Morgan School of Science is named in his honor. The Garrett A. Morgan Water Treatment Plant is named after him. In 2023, the Cleveland Fire Department's new fireboat was named in his honor. In Chicago, an elementary school bears his name. In Lexington, Kentucky, an elementary school named after him opened in 2016. In Prince George's County, Maryland, there's a Garrett A. Morgan Boulevard and a metro station named Morgan Boulevard. Garrett Augustus Morgan, 6th grade education, self-taught, son of freed slaves, inventor of the safety hood that saved countless firefighters, miners, and soldiers. Inventor of the 3-position traffic signal that made every intersection on Earth safer. Founder of a successful hair care company. Newspaper publisher, community leader, civil rights activist, hero. Every time you stop at a yellow light, you're using Garrett's genius. Every time a firefighter wears a gas mask and survives a burning building, they're benefiting from Garrett's innovation. Every time you navigate an intersection safely, you're protected by Garrett's vision. His inventions have saved millions of lives and continue saving lives every single day. Garrett Augustus Morgan, born March 4, 1877, in Paris, Kentucky, son of freed slaves. Died July 27, 1963, in Cleveland, Ohio, as a legendary inventor and hero. The Black Edison, a graduate, in his own words, from the School of Hard Knocks and Cruel Treatment. A man who personally saved 9 lives in a single night and millions more through his inventions. A man who never stopped creating, even when the world tried to erase him, even when racism tried to silence him, even when blindness tried to stop him. If Garrett Augustus Morgan's story inspired you, hit that like button right now. Share this video so more people learn his name and his legacy. Subscribe to this channel because we're celebrating our inventors every single episode, and you don't want to miss these stories. Drop a comment below and tell me which inventor you want to learn about next. Because we're not done. We're celebrating every forgotten genius, every erased innovator, every inventor who changed the world. Hit subscribe because their stories matter.